How do I get out of this mess? We've been friends since middle school, but I can't keep watching him tank this business that I've poured 3 years of my life into. I'm terrified that if I try to replace him, I'll not only lose a friend, but cause a total blow up in the company.
All right.
Ready, fellas.
Rock and roll. In the middle, girl.
Okay.
All right. This is my daughter, Katie. Isn't she beautiful? All right, what do we got? Give us our letter.
Okay. I run a niche subscription box business for home bar enthusiasts. We curate monthly kits with cocktail ingredients, tools, and drink recipes, mostly targeting mid-career professionals. It started as a solo project during lockdown and took off way faster than I expected. About a year ago, I realized I needed help managing growth. So I brought on my best friend as COO. He didn't have formal ops experience, but I thought we'd figure it out together. Who better to grow this with than someone I trust implicitly? Huge mistake. Since then, he's missed 2 leadership calls. One he completely forgot, and the other he showed up late and half drunk. He refuses to use any project management software because he says it kills creativity. His big idea last quarter was to spend $80,000 on products that ended up being sent back. Meanwhile, our churn is exploding, fulfillment's getting sloppy, and the customer support team doesn't know who to go to because technically he's their manager, but he takes days to answer emails. When I try to talk to him about deliverables, he says things like, "I'm more of a vision guy," or worse, "Don't worry, I've got it handled," when it's very clear that he doesn't. The problem is I do still care about him. We've been friends since middle school, but I can't keep watching him tank this business that I've poured 3 years of my life into. I'm terrified that if I try to replace him, I'll not only lose a friend, but cause a total blow up in the company. How do I get out of this mess?
All right, hardest friend. So there's really 2 debates here. Is hiring a friend just a bad idea to start with, period? Or is it's a bad idea for some people who don't have the heart to fire people who aren't working out?
Yeah.
So
how about a third?
what's that?
Whenever you're bringing somebody on, you'd love to see them be a key member of the team. Some people go, I need to give ownership to this guy to attract him.
Oh yeah.
Right off the gate. And
yeah, you're right. Give him equity or
yeah,
phantom equity.
Right.
Making it even harder to get rid of him.
We're going to go into partnership. Because he's a good friend from middle school. Let's go.
Yeah, you're right.
And he was maybe successful at something else.
Yeah.
Possibly.
No.
Didn't sound like he had the characteristics of someone who was really successful elsewhere, but
yeah.
Okay, let's hit yours first.
Okay, so I think, some people say don't hire family, don't hire friends.
Yeah.
And there's a million anecdotes to reinforce that those are pretty solid rules.
Right.
But then I do business with you, you're my best friend. I don't think that's a bad thing. Your sons are in business with you. They're really great team players.
Yeah.
So, and your daughter. So you're clearly an exception. If that is a rule, you guys are clear exceptions to that.
Yeah.
So, I guess it depends. Like, there's some people who talk about how you got to be really slow to hire and you have to interview people 50 times or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, well, if you're really bad at firing people, then yeah. And same thing, if you're one of these people who says, I really care about this guy. Yeah, well, do you care about your business? Because you're gonna tank it if you don't deal with this guy, right?
Right.
I don't know, would you be able, thinking back to some lifelong friend of yours,
Yeah.
if you hired him and said, oh wow, this is not working out, would you be able to fire him?
I would. It would be more, obviously emotional and involved whenever have somebody you're really invested in.
Yeah.
And that could be an employee that has been with you for a long time.
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
have a relationship there.
You're right. It's not just a friend. It could
Not
be
just a
just
friend.
long-term employee.
Yeah, but you know, you got to look at the health of the company. Believe me, there was many years of my 28 years of doing this where I wasn't healthy with my approach to termination.
Yeah.
I would keep somebody on as long as I could, just to not give them every chance in the world, so that I didn't have to go through that pain
Yeah.
of making a tough decision.
You know, 15 years ago, I had a guy running my company, and I knew I needed to fire him. He just wasn't up to it. He seemed smarter than he really was. Company was on fire. I didn't have the skills I needed to fix it, but he didn't either, and I could tell that.
Right.
And I remember sitting in my office praying, and I said, God, make it clear whether I'm supposed to fire Adam, and make it just totally plain, because I just don't think I can do it unless you just tell me plainly
Right.
that I need to fire him. I mean, that minute, Adam walks in my office, starts cussing, which I don't allow in my business.
Right.
And he walks out, and he had just said GD this and that, and I was like, I mean, God was like, hey man, did you hear what I just said?
Right.
You know, it was like,
I just made it real easy.
Yeah. And I said, God, I still can't do it. You're just gonna have to make him quit. And you know, I lost that business a month later.
Wow.
I went from $500,000 in the bank to 250,000 overdrawn in the space of just a couple of days.
Wow.
And it was like, God was saying, if you want to run my company, you're gonna have to run my company.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do what I tell you, even the hard stuff. And of course, God's gonna ask you to do hard stuff. It's not all gonna be easy.
Yeah.
And so, I don't think there's anything harder than firing somebody. And if you're not willing to do it, you don't deserve to run the company. And in this case, it's pretty clear.
Right.
This guy is not just bad at his job, but he's gonna wreck the culture
Sure.
of the company.
Sure.
And
They've got a lot of issues going on with the market and the way their business is being handled that goes even beyond him. He's just, you know, accelerating the problem, right?
yeah.
And you just got to make those cuts. I kept a guy on for a year and a half when we knew he had an alcohol problem.
Oh,
Sent him to rehab. He was a key member, stud attorney, and life just started getting sideways. And as much as we talked through it and tried to walk you through it with him,
Yeah.
it just finally came to a head, and I let it go way too long. I mean, rehab's not coming into the office for weeks and weeks at a time. We're all carrying his load, killed the culture. It was a real step back for me, and could have prevented it possibly with an earlier discussion and termination, and set some benchmarks. Hey, our churn's bad for this guy. Our fulfillment's not there. If we don't do XYZ this next week, we need to have our discussion, and we need to move on. We got to go to another level here between the two of us.
Yeah.
You might find a better position for yourself somewhere else, so start looking.
Yeah.
You know, I like to give the, couple weeks opportunity. I'll pay you for a month. I'll give you 4 weeks. I don't want to leave you and your family out high and dry, but what we got happening here with our subscription business isn't working.
Oh, you're talking about the guy in the letter.
About that.
Yeah, his business is gonna die anyway.
Yeah.
And so he needs to be squeezing the last bit of life out of this.
Right.
Now, and that's separate from this. We see this again and again. Guys that just don't have the heart to do what they're supposed to do, letting go of people who are underperforming. In this case, the guy shows up drunk to a meeting. He's not doing work. He won't get into your company systems.
Yeah.
Like, fire the guy, come on.
Yeah.
But what happens when you hire somebody who's just like, this guy is not really making the impact I thought he would.
Right.
He wasn't a good hire. He's not ruining things. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
But he's just not a high performer.
Yeah.
And I think the company could do better if we move him out, let the people under him step into that role,
Right.
You
So
know,
we can substitute someone, right?
that's a more common situation,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
You're like,
Yeah.
then it's really hard because you're like, well, maybe I can just keep coaching him. Maybe I can
Yeah.
just inspire him.
Yeah.
Maybe we can just live with, you know, not quite as good as it could be. And this is where the choice gets harder. But
Right.
I'm amazed at the guys who say, I'm just gonna give this guy some more time. And you're like, okay,
Yeah.
how many times are you gonna let him
Yeah.
wreck the company truck? How many times are
Right.
you gonna let him steal money from the till?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, this is a situation where
That's what they're doing when they're not coming into work for weeks. Yeah. It's just
I mean,
dropping the ball on projects.
I have a buddy who literally on camera sees his people stealing gas from him. He owns a landscaping company and he
Right.
has his own gas tank,
Yeah.
and he watches on camera and he says, I'm gonna have a talk with him. Wow. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I think that's a talk with him? What?
Yeah.
Like, boy, he'll regret that talk, won't he? Like, he won't steal gas from you till the next time he needs gas, probably.
Right.
Like, wow.
And neither will his buddies. Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, that's crazy. And I'm telling him,
Yeah.
dude, what you allow becomes your culture. And
So
things
good.
just go downhill if you let it.
Yeah.
And pretty soon, that's where you end up as a company.
Yeah.
It's like your whole company has a vibe to it,
Yeah.
and you get to control that, or you don't.
Yeah.
And you just let it turn to crap. And if you keep people around who are selfish, or they're
Yeah.
the quote brilliant jerk, the guy that's really good at his job but he's mean to everybody,
Right.
you're like, yeah, no, we can't do that. That's not the company we're trying to create here.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, hard choice.
Right.
But if you want to run God's company, you're gonna have to make hard choices.
Absolutely.
So,
It made me think of when you mentioned culture over and over. The what is it? I can't think of it. 4 habits, 4 traits of a extraordinary executive,
yeah,
and one of them. And I was just like, dude, I need to emphasize this. Did I send you the text yesterday?
yeah, I sent one. It says the 6 motivators.
Nah, it was underneath that.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was culture.
Okay.
To take your mission, vision, purpose, values, core values,
Yeah.
and just overemphasize them more than you'd ever imagine. You know?
Okay.
They're like, have them on the wall, talk about them each meeting.
Yeah.
You know, just until it becomes ingrained in you. And then along the lines of what we were just discussing, he says when you have to have a termination, treat the person just like your culture, just like your core values. If you're about a compassionate, speaking life into your clients, I want you all, we're a team. Well, approach it like a proper coach
I know
would,
what
a
you're
proper
talking
team member. Go for it.
Lencioni was talking
Yes.
about one of his 4 laws
Yes.
is fire people in line with your vision or
There
your
you go.
values. And I'm like,
They're your values, right?
okay.
Like, here you are being, hey, I want everybody to know this is who we are. We're a firm that's caring. We help restore lives. And then when it comes to terminating somebody who's been with us, forever, or even, a key member, non-key member, and
Yeah.
we're just cutthroat. Goodbye, hate you, good luck, out on your butt,
Yeah.
I cut you off, you're dead to me. I mean, that's
Okay.
not the culture, right?
You're right.
The
yeah.
culture is here. Here's 2 weeks severance. Any references we can give you, if I can help you in your next step, great. I'm always here for a phone call if you got a question.
I remember reading that or hearing that when he talked about it.
Yeah.
And I thought, Patrick, I don't know if I'm with you. I've been fired so many times.
Yeah.
And it's a brutal experience whether someone patronizes you or not. But if somebody says, oh, Brian, you're just a great guy.
Right.
You've done such a good job. We're just going to move in another direction.
Yeah.
It's like, no, tell them. You suck. You've been lazy. Nobody likes working with you, dude. If you died, I wouldn't be able to find anybody at the company to carry your casket to your funeral. So lock in, right? Like, tell me.
Yeah.
I've learned something from every time I've been fired. Don't rob me of that.
Right. Well, I think you could. That's not my culture. you know? So while I can say that in a different way, different tone,
Yeah.
and come across like, look, I want to help you and your family.
Yeah.
Here's the 4 things you need to work on, you know? But here's why it wasn't a fit.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
I was like, dang, I need to get back on that culture.
Yeah.
In our team meetings, I haven't brought up
Yeah.
the culture guide in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Let me press back on Lencioni one more time.
Okay.
If I say, hey, we're letting you go, you're not a culture fit, you seem to just rub everybody wrong,
Right?
what are they gonna do? They're gonna say, well, they ganged up on me, and they start making excuses
Yeah.
and defending themselves, and now you have an argument, and you're escalating it with this guy, where, you know, I'm sorry it didn't work out. That's, I don't know. I think Lencioni has the benefit, I think he mentioned he had 14 team members. It's a huge organization with very few actual
Right.
W-2s.
Yep.
And I mean, dude, can you imagine what those resumes look like?
Yeah.
This is Patrick Lencioni.
Yeah.
He's got some really good people.
Right.
He doesn't have to fire people very often.
Sure.
So he can do the kind of culture, kind, terminations. He doesn't have 100, how many do you have? 600, 160 employees.
Right.
So, okay, I love Patrick Lencioni. I don't know if that deserved to be on the list, or I don't know what it looks like. The values-based terminations, I don't know what that looks like, where you don't create more problems than you solve.
Right.
But I can tell you, if we're supposed to be doing that, I have room to improve. So, but business owner, if you have trouble firing somebody that you know you need to fire in your heart, you need to call us and we'll handle it for you. The other thing, you know, Kana said this yesterday. This guy was debating about whether to fire a supervisor. And Kana says, the fact that you're bringing it up says you already know what you're supposed to do.
Absolutely.
Just get it done, move on to the next decision. Jesus said, he who looks behind him with a hand on the plow is unworthy of the reign of God. He who will not make a decision when he knows he's supposed to make the decision shouldn't be running God's business. Just get it done. It's not fun, it's not pleasant,
Yeah.
but it's why you get to be the boss. You're willing to make that tough call.
So good. How about the hire family friend, family member, or maybe a key fit you think from the outside resumes you just got on Indeed? Hire the guy. Do you give him ownership? Do you like he's such a key
great
member?
question. Yeah, if it takes ownership to recruit somebody, you're trying too hard. What is I think it's another Lencioni. Does he get it? Does he want it? Can he get it done? The 3 tests of the who.
Yeah.
If you have to beg someone to come work for you, although let's be honest, I don't have any key players like Dan. You did court him for a long time.
I did.
So now it's
There
a
are
little
companies,
different.
yeah.
You didn't hire your high school buddy. You hired a
Right.
star litigator.
Right.
He's just super well known. So it's like, I've never done that. Like, okay, if you're the general manager of the 49ers,
Yeah.
how do you recruit people?
Right.
You have some experience in that, in getting Dan Smith, right?
Right.
I have no experience like that. I mean,
I
get
told
my
you he just
people.
got a $1.5 million verdict the other day too.
no way.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Huge day.
That's awesome.
State Farm's going to appeal. It's going to be forever,
Okay.
of course.
Oh, that's why you won't let me go with State Farm. They're holding your money. You'll get them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we'll see something in a couple years from now. But oh yeah,
That's good.
yeah, he is an absolute stud.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but you don't need to be giving equity to your childhood friend. And I think when you start a business, it's the wrong time to take on partners.
yeah,
It's a security blanket. You're worried that you can't do it on your own, so you bring
Right.
on some stupid partner. And
sure.
that's most bad partnerships start where somebody brings on a partner before they even have a business model fleshed out.
Yeah,
And they're like, yeah, let's do this together. And then they realize, oh, the reason I love hanging out with this guy
yeah,
is the very reason he's a crappy worker.
right,
It's all fun and games,
right.
but we got a job to do. So,
Yeah, I think maybe the key isn't not giving him equity,
yeah,
but saying I'll pay you really well.
yeah, yeah.
And maybe I'll pay you on a pseudo commission based, you know, I'll pay you based on the revenue you generate.
Yeah.
And have some indicators that show revenue production.
You know,
so you retain 100% of the company.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But I'm going to pay based on profitability or this line of business that you're attracting or generating.
One of the 10 laws: do not give up control. It's always a mistake.
Yeah.
You'll always regret it later.
Yeah, right.
So even Elon Musk has had to learn this lesson.
Right.
And the guy who started ChatGPT gets fired and has to beg his way back in. Like, come on. And Sam Altman, I think you got to communicate when you hire people for leadership roles, and just tell them the chances of me firing you from this job are huge. And I do this, you know, when I promote someone to be a supervisor, I tell them, you are a star performer. If you stay in the role you're in, you can stay here forever. You'll always be a star performer. When you become a supervisor, this is the most dangerous job in my whole company. And here's the 3 things that are going to cause you to get fired. And I tell them up front what those are. You know, I need total alignment. They can't be a cowboy, as Terry would say. And they just gotta toe the line. Like, I want them to disagree with me in the meetings.
Yeah.
And tell me, you know, your idea is terrible. What you're asking me to do isn't gonna work. Tell me that. You can disagree with me openly, you can disagree with me privately, but you can't disagree with me secretly, where we leave the meeting and you just go do what you wanna do.
Yeah.
Because you'll get fired for that. And last one is, if you become a supervisor of people you used to be peers of, and you care more about what they think than what I think, you will end up being fired.
Right.
Because you work for me, not them. And you have to decide ahead of time that what they think of you means nothing.
Right.
If what I'm telling you to do makes you unpopular with them. You just have to do it.
Company over relationships.
Yeah. But it's okay to disagree with me.
Yeah.
Like, tell me I'm an idiot.
Right.
Just don't do it secretly.
Right.
And so I tell them up front, and some people still don't get it, because it is still the most dangerous job, right? Once someone's in it for a while, it's safe. But that first 3 months can be really rocky as people go from line worker to supervisor.
Yeah.
Because they're just not taking me seriously.
Right.
And
never had that relationship or expectation role.
Yeah. I think I'm the boss here. I'm gonna do what I think's best. And or make the thing I did when I was a worker and my supervisor wasn't paying attention, I'm gonna make that the new normal. And like, nope, can't do it. So, but communicate with your friend. Like, hey, I'm gonna hire you, probably shouldn't, but I'm gonna fire you just as easily.
Right.
And so, you know, I was 22 years old, first time I became a dealership manager, and the owner, Bob Mariano, who passed away since then, he said, I probably shouldn't hire you. You're too young. He says, but I fix my mistakes as fast as I make them. So if you don't do good, I'm gonna fire you. And he threw some cussing in there while he did it.
Right.
He's in his normal loving way. Well, a year later, guess what? He did fire me. True to his word. So, and I wasn't like, oh, what a jerk for firing me. I absolutely deserved to get fired. And I learned from it.
But to our earlier comment about the working with friends, working with family, I may have the kids working with us and love for good friends to work with us, right?
Yeah.
And who else do I want to do life with more?
Of course.
I mean, on a daily basis, we're running, talking, texting, you know? I mean, the random stranger that we bring in as the COO because of his resume, I hope we become close. I hope we become more than just, you know, tell me the numbers.
Yeah.
Goodbye. You know, that's not our culture. Our culture is...
I know, you got a great culture.
Yeah.
I watched your Sweet 16 pool, and I thought, we don't have anything like this.
Yeah.
We're much too buttoned down. Like, I love how you guys really got into that.
Yeah.
And everybody's birthday.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I have 11.
Birthdays, anniversaries.
I mean, it's a big deal, everything.
Yeah.
It's like a friend group you guys have.
Yeah.
And
it's a team.
Yeah.
And well, not only is it more difficult, you say I got to take a second chance, second glance at, am I going to give this guy a second chance? Am I going to keep him on the team? But much easier to either fire or leave a company when there's not a relationship there.
Oh yeah, that's true. It makes you.
And some people, that's the way they want to operate their business.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
I don't fraternize with anybody outside the office. You know?
yeah.
You either produce your numbers or you're gone. I don't care. We're not friends. And I don't know. It just, to me, my personality,
I know. You're a
really
people
hard
person.
for me to believe I'm getting employees that don't want to have churn. I'm out of here whenever I get, XYZ, because this guy is too demanding. And we run with guys like that all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
A couple times a week.
You're running with one right now. No, I'm definitely, I think guys should be more number driven, but I'm probably too number driven.
Yeah,
Not probably, definitely.
right.
And so I think of one guy right now who probably should have been offboarded, but he can kind of ride as long as he wants because he's got a chronic illness and he just can't perform.
Right.
And he's just, I don't know, he's in the Philippines, not terribly expensive guy. He's just a good heart on him, been with me for a very long time, but he just is what it is. I mean, he does the best he can.
Right.
And so, but I don't know, I don't like get that out there because I'm gonna have 100 chronic illnesses of people who wanna ride it,
Sure.
So, but everybody else is earning their keep.
Right.
All right, if you can't fire somebody, you have no business hiring somebody. One goes with the other.
Hey guys, if you watch my content, you probably own a business and I would love to one-on-one with you. I'd love to talk with you about the things I always talk about. 3 things. What would have to be true to 10x your business? What can be done to make your business easier to run? And what can be done to reduce risk in your business? I'd love to talk about those things with you. If you want to just click, there's in the description below, there should be a link to a Calendly. You could set up a free one-on-one with me. Love to spend some time on the phone with you, just talking through your story. Maybe obviously my ulterior motive is to get you to come onto the podcast, but I don't mind if you don't want to get onto a podcast. I'd love to just have a one-on-one with you if I can give you some help. So if you're a Christian business owner, any size business, any type of business, I'd love to help you. So go ahead and click the link below, get onto a Calendly so you and I can have a talk. I'd love to help you if I can. I love your help with my business if you have some advice for me. So thanks so much for watching. Thank you for being a part of our community.
Hey, nice rearview mirrors. Where'd you get those?
Your voice, you crazy dog.
No, they clip on or they clip on. You can take them right off.
We screwed
Okay.
them on. Not into the thing, but like they
Yeah.
I mean, this is good. We can
It's
see
all right.
Colin.
Thanks, fellas.
This is nice. Dude,
Crazy.
this is the podcast wagon, Brian.
That's
it's not
it,
about
baby.
style.
Yeah, no.
It's not like you have a G-Wagon golf cart anyway,
Exactly.
Brian. Come
No.
on now.